Check out this clip from my interview with Lil Train from Maravilla. In this clip, Lil Train discusses why Maravilla isn't under the SUREN0 umbrella. He also discusses his hood getting the green light.
The SUREN0 car started in the 70s, The MA started in the late 50s, early 60s. But this SUREN0 car started in the 70s, And what happened was, back in, I think about 90, I think it was 92, there was somebody, he was a somebody named Chico from Vietnam. He came out and he said that, everybody's going to have to pay taxes. They had a big old meeting. Everybody was going to have to pay taxes, For every neighborhood, you were going to have to pay, pay rent. How much wasn't exactly decided yet, but you were gonna have to pay, so much. You're gonna have to kick down to the homies, right? Mm-hmm. And from what I know, because I hadn't gotten to the hood yet, my homies that were there were like, "No, this ain't happening. We ain't doing it." So then they sent a couple of their people to Belvedere Park, that's right in Maravilla, and basically they got sent packing, in a bad way, Mm-hmm. And that's when the green light came on after that, and it was on, it was on site for both ways. If we see them, it was on, and if they see us, it was on,
Yeah.
And so
explain to people what green light means.
Well, basically, what the green light is, it's basically kill on sight. If you're in the streets, it's shoot on sight, stab on sight, whatever you got, fight on sight. And in jail, in county jail, it's fucking stab, beat down whatever you got in your hand on sight. There's no ifs and buts. You say Maravilla back then, it's just on.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just there's no way of going around it, and it's straight up, and that's what was going down from like about 92 to 2005. It was
okay.
it was pretty gruesome.
And how did it work when the MA runs pretty much California prisons? How does it work when a Maravilla gets in? I mean, is he off top? Just it's on.
Yeah. Well, in prison it doesn't carry. In prison, it stops. It's just like LA County jail thing.
Oh, really? Okay.
Well, yeah, it's just an LA County jail thing. I mean, there you go, like Riverside County, San Bernardino. They'll play that too, to a certain point, But it's basically it's a county jail. It's a county jail thing. Once you get to the prison, they don't play that shit. You go straight up. You go with everybody. So like we're not. Even though we're not SURENOs, like we don't have a 13, we don't write 13 on the wall. We still program, we still sallies with them, we still run with them. If a SURENO is gonna get if it's gonna go down with the blacks or the whites or the Asians or whatever, we're gonna be there the same way.
Yeah, it's all about numbers pretty much. We can't all be divided.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's all numbers. They're going up with the north, we're there,
Yeah.
Now I'm not gonna sugarcoat and lie. There's certain individuals from Maravilla that have been down long time, years, and they play both sides. They'll claim they're SURENO because they've been in that system so long. They considered all of them their brothers. They're like, some of them ain't never gonna make it back to the streets. So if you got a dude that you've been fucking with for years or whatever, you're gonna fall into that category. And some of them do that, and they actually do claims to, So I can't say that none of us do, but for the majority, it's only a handful of guys that like are doing major time that never gonna get out, that they start politicking and they actually become SURENOs,
Okay.
But for the most part, we don't fly a 13. You're not gonna see 13 on the wall. You're not gonna see somebody come and collect money from us. It's not gonna happen.
Okay. Are there any other big gangs out there that aren't under the SURENO umbrella, or are you guys pretty much
I
down?
wouldn't want to say big gangs, but there's a couple of gangs that like Lowell and Opal, and they have the green. For I know that they have Lowell for sure has the green light for like supposedly for life. Because I guess what the rumor was that they killed somebody, and supposedly they're never gonna get it taken off. So they go protected custody even in prison. There's no ifs and buts. Yeah, they're not a big neighborhood. But they're still out there.
Yeah.
You can get got by one of them if
Damn, dude.
So yeah, so there's like maybe a couple, but that's about it. They don't really play that green light shit no more on Valios. From what I know, I've been out for the last 2 years, and from what I remember, after doing my stretch, you didn't really hear about neighborhoods getting green lights. It does happen, but it wasn't like in the 90s. Like, damn, your neighborhood could have the green light. Like, you could be cool in the county 1 minute, just chilling, Next thing you know, you're getting beat up because your neighbor has a green light, you know, because your homie's fucked up out
somebody made
there.
a call.
Yeah, next thing you know, you're getting the blue. That's why I give it to a certain body, certain dudes that I know that did time with, that I know that they were on the main line, that they toughed it out with the green light, you know.
Yeah.
I gotta give them a lot of props, you know, because I know what they went through. You know, they fucking there were some real ones.
Thank you for tuning in to Dusty Vision TV. Please hit that like button if you have not already. And if this is your first time joining the channel and you like what you hear, please hit that subscribe button. And if you enjoyed this video, you just might appreciate this bonus clip I'm about to play for you right now. As an active member, what was the hardest time period for you? You know, when was shit just like super active? All right, I got to watch my back everywhere. You know, like, I can't even sleep at night. When did it begin to, just really when was shit crazy for you?
1996 and 1997, when that gang that I used to belong to was in the heat of a race war with a rival Hispanic gang just north of the housing project. It got deadly. It got dangerous. It was no more fun. All the fun about gangbanging suddenly vanished. Now it got real.
You said the thing with the Mexican gang started heating up. How did that differ from, okay, I'm fighting I'm fighting another Crip or another Blood. Now I'm fighting a different gang, a different nationality, I should say.
So the history of that housing project is that traditionally they got along with all of the gangs around it. To the north, there was a Hispanic gang they got along with. To the west, there was another Blood gang they got along with. To the south, there was another Hispanic gang they got along with. And to the east was another city that didn't have any gangs in it, which is the city of Vernon, which is basically a commercial district, right? So traditionally, there wasn't a lot of gang warfare in that community, not for that project. That project was an open air drug market that all of those gangs could come to, and it was a place where a lot of families that migrated to South Central LA at one point lived in that project and moved away into other neighborhoods. Those kids became gang members in those other neighborhoods, but they would always come back where they had relatives. So you had people from other places, from other gangs, coming into that project without any problem. You know what I mean? So it really wasn't that real bad vibe. There was still shootings and different things that took place over the years, little scuffles and beats and battles. But this right here was an all-out warfare when it started. And when you're talking about Hispanic gangs have a different way of gang culture, and Hispanic gangs is different. They go about it a whole different way. A lot more dangerous, a lot more activity in that, And so that housing project had to really either step up or step off. And it brought out the worst in our community. And it became one of the bloodiest gang wars in the history of South Los Angeles.
Before we continue with your life, side note, what would you like to say to the guys out there who are still killing each other? Specifically the blacks and Latinos, who I wish if we came together, there would be nothing more powerful than that no force, could destroy us. But, what would you like to say to the blacks and Latino community out there who are still out there warring?
Think about how much more we could do if we put the guns down. Think about how much more we can do for ourselves and for each other. What is it for? What is it really for? What is it really about? I talk to youngsters all the time that's caught up in that in the wars, right? And most of them can't really pinpoint what it started about or when it started. It is what it is. This is the craziest thing ever, So I have to really caution and say, man, you got to stop and think for yourself for a minute. Why am I going to sit out here and do something that's not productive? And not only is it not productive, but it's a sure ticket to the penitentiary or the graveyard. Are we just suicidal like that where we just don't give a damn? Like, my life ain't worth living. I don't care. This is what it is. We got to get a wake-up call, man, and really figure this out, you know, because the only people that's really benefiting from it is the morgues, the cemetery, you know, the people that's selling us the guns, you know, the people that's providing ammunition, you know, they're benefiting from it monetarily, you know. So you got to really think about that. How am I going to let somebody benefit off my misery? It makes absolutely no sense. And this is the reason why I come on this show and tell my story, so that maybe one day you will sit back and reflect on it and say, you know what? I'm done, man. I'm out. This ain't making no sense.
Let's continue with your story. Let's talk about the first time you got locked up as an active gang member. What was that experience like?
I was 14 years old, went to juvenile hall in San Bernardino, caught a robbery, ended up in juvie out there, and I didn't understand gangs out there in the San Bernardino County, right? And some of those places in San Bernardino, the city itself, it's about your hood. So they'll have a hood, and half of the guys will be Crips, and the other half will be Bloods in this particular little neighborhood, but they get along with each other because they from the same hood. I didn't understand that. I thought that was the strangest thing ever. The way I thought about it was like, I couldn't imagine half of the project I was from was Crips and the other half was Bloods, and we got along and we beefed with other neighborhoods. So when I encountered these guys, they became my enemy for the little short period of time that I was in juvenile hall. I went hard on them, and they couldn't understand it because they were Bloods too. So they saying, why you tripping? I'm saying, I'm tripping because y'all pieced up, y'all doing this thing over here. Y'all in a gang with the enemy. I ain't with that. You know what I mean? And it was really hypocritical of me because at the same time in Los Angeles, the ceasefire was still going. You know? But that was just me being ignorant, young, running amok.